Hello, everybody. I'm Nate Barrett. I'm an economics major at Boston University, and this is my podcast on the Paradox of Thrift. Imagine your hometown hits hard times. Businesses are closing, people are worried about their jobs. What do you think is the smart thing to do? You would probably say to be responsible and save your money, and you'd be right, at least for yourself. Here's the weird thing. If everyone makes the same smart decision at the same time, the entire economy can actually get worse. Today I'm going to be discussing something called the Paradox of Thrift in the least econ-y, wordy way possible. Let's start with an example. Picture a franchise Nike store owner who runs a storefront employing 15 people. If you buy a shirt from the store, the owner earns money. They then use that money to pay their employees. Those employees use their paychecks to buy groceries. The grocery store owner pays the suppliers, and the money goes back around to the beginning. When one person spends, it becomes another person's income. Now, imagine people get nervous about the future. Maybe they hear rumors of layoffs, or maybe the stock market drops. So instead of buying a $40 shirt from Nike, they thrift instead. And on top of that, they skip their morning Starbucks, and they don't buy the new shoes they wanted. Individually, that's responsible. Spending less and saving more feels safe. However, here's where the paradox kicks in. If everyone cuts back at the same time, the Nike store gets fewer customers. The owner makes less money, and they may have to cut some employee shifts or even lay off someone. Now the employees have less income, so they cut back too. They buy less groceries, so the grocery store sells less food. They buy less shoes, so the shoe store sells fewer shoes. The town's total income has now shrunk, not because people suddenly became lazy and all quit their jobs, but because spending has slowed down everywhere. This causes the entire economy to spiral downward. This is the paradox. Everyone trying to save money at the same time across the country leads to income shrinking. Boiled down to this, you can't save money you never earned. This is the idea of the paradox. What makes sense for one person can hurt everyone if we all do it at once. Think of the economy like a big circle of money. Spending is what keeps the circle moving and flowing correctly and smoothly. When confidence is high, people spend, businesses invest, jobs grow, but when fear takes over, people pull back, and that pulling back can shrink the whole circle entirely. Now, obviously, saving isn't bad. I'm not telling you not to save. It's extremely important. It helps you in your future to buy a house or to be prepared for emergencies. The paradox only shows up during recession time when the economy is already weak. Actually, economics tells us that in good times, savings often turn into investment. Banks will lend more money and businesses grow to support the growth of the economy. However, in a recession, businesses don't want to borrow because customers aren't buying. These extra savings that customers think that they're doing are just sitting there. Money that sits in a saving account isn't creating income for someone to spend in the economy. Here's an interesting analogy to maybe put it in an easier way. Imagine a baseball stadium doing the wave. If everyone participates, the wave moves smoothly around the arena. But if enough people stay seated and don't participate, the wave stops entirely. Spending works in a similar way. It only keeps flowing around that circle if enough people are participating at every part of the circle. In the wave analogy, even if the people not participating in it are doing it out of health reasons, it still stops the wave. That's the same as thrifting. Here's the big takeaway. The paradox of thrift teaches us that the economy isn't just about individual choices, it's about how those choices work together and interact with each other. Your decision to save affects someone else's paycheck, and their decision affects someone else's business, and that business in turn could affect your paycheck. The practical application for all this in economics is that during recessions, governments sometimes try to encourage spending through stimulus checks, tax cuts, etc., not because saving is bad, but because they need there to be spending in order to keep the flow of the economy going. It's pretty similar to jump-starting a car engine. Once you jump-start the car, it can usually run fine on its own, but it needs that little boost at the beginning. So, in conclusion of all this, the next time someone tells you to save your money because the economy is currently on the downturn, you will know that there's a lot more to this decision. For an individual, it's smart. For the whole economy during a recession, it's more complicated. What's good for you versus what's good for everyone is a concept at the heart of all economic theory, and this paradox shows it very well. Sometimes the safest thing for one person can unintentionally make things harder for all of us. Thank you for listening, and if you are wondering whether or not to buy that new shirt, buy it.